I lost over 14 pounds in just 4 weeks from March to April 2024, and I'm going to tell you just how I did. My name's Nick, and fitness changed my life from having a self-sabotaging childhood with low confidence and self-esteem to finally finding a goal and pursuing it with no means to an end. And it's done nothing but make my life better in every way, confidence-wise, mentally-wise, physically-wise, socially, etc. And I hope to spark that passion onto you. First, we need to understand and define what a mini cut is. Is this some sort of gimmick? Well, no, mini cuts serve a very specific purpose. Now, mini cuts are essentially a phase of dieting where you go aggressively into fat loss and you aim to lose as much fat in the shortest time frame. And this can range specifically from 2 to 6 weeks. But why do it? Well, if you've been trying to bulk up and you've been a hard gainer and you're trying to get in the gym and make gains and all that, sometimes you can bulk, but you can overestimate how long you've needed to bulk for. And you've gained a bit too much fat compared to the muscle that you wanted to build. A mini cut is there to get rid of the excess fat that you've been building, whilst allowing you to get back onto pursuing your bulk with minimal fat gain. So it essentially future-proofs your ability to keep on bulking without becoming clinically obese. So let's say you've been bulking for a while and you've started to get your body fat percentage to around the high teens, around 20% body fat. That is outside of the range to where bulking would be beneficial for your hypertrophy goals or your muscle growth goals, as the proportion of fat to muscle that you'll be gaining is quite poor. So a mini cut would be there just to knock you down a couple pegs as far as body fat percentage goes, so that you can continue to stay on your bulk and gain muscle. Now, how do we actually do the mini cut? To start by addressing the diet side, it's different to a traditional bulk or a cut, as I mentioned earlier, but you need to know the same stuff. How many daily calories are you consuming? Calories in, calories out. That's the bottom line. Now, tracking your food makes it so much easier so that you've established baseline to know how many daily calories make it so that I maintain my weight, and you can figure that out to be your maintenance calories. Now, if you'd want to start a regular cut, then everyone would typically say reduce the calorie intake by 400 to 700 calories per day and you start losing weight. And yes, that is true. But because we're doing a mini cut and it is much shorter of a time frame that we have to work with, we don't have 8, 12, 16 weeks of a traditional cut to work with here. We only have 4, 6, 3 weeks. So that means we're going to make big leaps a lot quicker. From day one, we're starting with a 1,000 daily calorie deficit. So the types of foods you eat matter a lot more now, as you'll be eating much less than you are used to. Our number one point for this though is that protein is key. Increasing your protein intake throughout this period to 1 gram per pound of body weight or well over 2 grams per kilo of body weight is great for feeling full throughout this harsh diet and also maintaining, if not growing, muscle with your new training plan alongside the diet. So that's protein sorted out. What about fats? Well, as personal preference and rather advice for a diet like this, I'd keep fats low to increase the overall volume of food that you're consuming, because fats tend to come and go quickly as they're very calorie dense. So my guidelines for fat, 0.7 grams per kilogram of body weight, and that's around 0.3 grams per pound of body weight. As for carbs, I'd fuel the rest of your calories through that. Primarily focus your carbs to fuel your workouts. Speaking of workouts, the training side of this mini cut is more intense. As for overall volume, whatever you've been doing recently, I would reduce the volume so that you're not exhausting your muscles during this period of restriction with so many sets. I'd leave the sets low, but I'd ramp up the intensity. So with every set, every working set, you're training harder. You're training close to failure, if not to direct failure. And just the basic stuff, make sure you're training 4 to 6 days a week, making sure all muscle groups are stimulated. As for a training program, there are sample programs that you can find for free online. But just as a quick bonus, I've left a link to a Google Doc that lays out the exact workout program that I used myself during my mini cut. As for the rest of daily activity, it honestly doesn't matter too much. I wouldn't see it as necessary to do high intensity cardio 3 to 4 times per week on top of your hard training sessions, as I feel it would interfere with the performance in the gym and just bring up your fatigue a bit too much during this period of dieting. So I'd only recommend make sure that you get 10,000 steps per day minimum, just to maintain overall general health and still be considered an active human being. Now, I hope you got some value out of that. Now I'm going to tell you how I did my mini cut and what my calories were to start with. Considering my situation, I was over 1.5 years into my bulk. So I've been bulking straight for 1.5 years. And I went from mid 70s in body weight, in kilograms, to peaking over 100 kilograms. So that's a pretty big weight gain in 1.5 years, and certainly wasn't really taking it too slowly if I look back at how fast I was gaining weight. It was just an arbitrary goal of mine to get over 100 kilos and still look somewhat muscular, but it didn't really turn out like that. And as you can see in this picture, this is me with a pump at over 100 kilos, and honestly, bulk got dirty dog. We cleaned that up, so I knew that my weight would not continue to go up unless I ate 5,000 calories, which is an insane amount to eat every single day and very tiring, especially if I was eating whole foods throughout the day, which is what I was doing. I was eating a clean diet, but I was just eating so much. Since we established that the starting calorie deficit for your mini cut is to be around 1,000, I started my diet at 3,500 calories because I assumed that my maintenance was at 4,500 calories. Now, considering I have a very active lifestyle and I'm young, eating that amount of calories for me was enough to be able to bring me down a couple pounds in my first week. Now, mini cuts aren't just about making 1 to 2 adjustments, then going on your merry way for fat loss. It's more complicated than that. So every time the scale didn't drop hard enough, I lowered the calories while still making sure that the macronutrients I was taking in were prioritized. That being protein first, carbs to fuel the workouts, and fats at minimum, just to maintain hormonal health. By the second week, I lowered my calories again to 3,200 calories. By the third week, down to 3,000. And then by the fourth week, I was approximately eating 2,700 calories per day. Now, the results in ending only a 4-week mini cut. It started March 10th. I was over 100 kilos. I was around 101 kilos. All the way to April 8th, I weighed in at 93.9 kilos. So that's over 6 kg lost in 4 weeks. Now, ideally, that would all be fat after bulking so long, but it's probably a mixture of water retention and fat that was lost, and hopefully no muscle, because I worked my ass off during that period. I hope this shed light on how you can use mini cuts as a tool for bulking if you've gained too much fat, but you still want to focus on building muscle into the future. Now, the positive side effects of this mini cut were actually greater than I thought. My energy actually improved, my mood improved, my diet fatigue dropped, so I'm eager to eat more food again finally. I improved my confidence, I lowered my acne, just as a cool bonus, and I hope that this can help you as well. My name's Nick Steep, leave no more lost potential, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.